Prince Charles warned support is divided in one of Queen's realms ahead of succession. Prince Charles has been warned support for him is divided in one of the Queen's realms. Prince Charles is set to accede to the throne after the end of the Queen's reign. But, according to one expert, he will need to follow the example of Her Majesty if he wants to become as beloved and accepted as his mother is in Australia. Philip Benwell MBE, National Chair of the Australian Monarchist League, told Express.co.uk, "Of course, the Queen is personally hugely popular whereas support for Charles is divided. Generally, younger generations have nothing against him, or the Duchess of Cornwall, whereas a number of older Australians are more critical, particularly of his support for the Great Reset, and radical climate change policies." The division caused by his divorce from Diana, the late Princess of Wales, has greatly lessened with the passage of time. Whilst I believe that Charles will generally be accepted as king, that acceptance will mainly be a part of the widespread grief and loss people would feel at the Queen's passing. He would need to make his mark as the monarch and follow completely the example set down by his mother, the Queen, and his grandfather, George VI, of never involving himself in any political, divisive or otherwise controversial issue, such as the Great Reset. Prince Charles has been accused by his critics of stepping into the political realm with his campaigning and initiatives, despite the fact that senior royals are meant to remain politically neutral to avoid swaying the country's opinion. Between 2004 and 2005 he wrote a series of notes and memos to government ministers, dubbed Black Spider Memos. These letters included discussions on a range of topics close to the Prince of Wales' heart, including education, huts in the Antarctic and badger culls. When these notes were released in 2015, they were described as underwhelming and harmless. Prince Charles has also been speaking out about plastic pollution, the environment and climate change over the past 5 decades, topics that can intertwine with political interest. Prince Charles issued his first major warning on plastic waste and air pollution in a speech delivered in 1970 for which, he recalled last year, he had been considered rather dotty at the time. Over the decades, he launched several initiatives to tackle these issues. Most recently, in September 2019, he created the Sustainable Markets Initiative and Council, which aims at transitioning the world to genuinely sustainable markets and a net-zero global economy. Prince Charles discussed his decades of work in a BBC documentary marking his 70th birthday and spoke about accusations of meddling. The Prince of Wales said, "If it's meddling to worry about the inner cities as I did 40 years ago, then if that's meddling I'm proud of it." He also said the roles of Prince of Wales and King were completely separate and the idea he would continue to operate once he accedes to the throne as he is now was nonsense. He said, "It's vital to remember there's only room for one sovereign at a time, not two." So, you can't be the same as the sovereign if you're the Prince of Wales or the heir. But the idea, somehow, that I'm going to go on in exactly the same way, if I have to succeed, is complete nonsense because the two situations, are completely different. Asked whether his public campaigning would continue, he said, "No, it won't. I'm not that stupid." Prince Charles' accession to the throne will likely be followed by another pivotal moment for the monarchy that will hugely help the new king to renew the Crown's ties with Australians, Mr. Benwell said. He said, "Of course, when Charles does become king, William will certainly and almost immediately become Prince of Wales and in that role will continue the link he and his wife have already established with Australians and particularly with our younger generations." When Prince Charles becomes king, his current titles will be either redistributed or put in abeyance. This means it will be up to Prince Charles to decide whether his son William and daughter-in-law Kate will become Prince and Princess of Wales.